Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2, and today we are getting into the electric motor. First and foremost, we want to get the electric motor from Create Additions or something? What is that mod, actually? Create Crafts and Additions, that's what it's called. And this is going to simplify a couple things that I've been working on downstairs, which we will get to once we have the motors. And then we'll get into the polyophenol, this stuff, this shenanigans. Okay. We need to grab a couple things. First thing we need to grab is a rolling mill. And how is this thing powered? I'm going to assume it just takes a shaft in the side. So let's grab an L-shaped gearbox. We should have one of these guys. There we go. And I'm just going to plop this guy here, rolling mill here. And apologies if my voice is kind of cracking a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see. So then we want to grab copper sheets, which I actually have the ability to just craft up some copper sheets. So let's go 32 of these guys. And I also think I can probably put a chest on one of the sides of this, and maybe it'll output into it. I think the output's on the other side here. So that copper sheet, which I just did all the copper sheets and everything off camera. It's all just running through thermal. So, and this is the right machine, right? Rolling. Do I just like toss it? Or am I thinking of this wrong? Copper. Okay, copper works. I think this is the wrong direction. I really do. But I don't know if direction really matters with this thing. So could we just do like hopper on the bottom? Is that gonna pull everything out? Looks like it's working. Okay. And then we also want to grab iron, because we need iron rods, which is this right here. So the rolling, there we go. We'll do 16 of those guys. And then we also need to set up mechanical crafters. We're just going to set these guys up here. So we just need 12 of these guys. And somehow I'm going to have to power this. Got an idea. Let's just wait for the rolling to commence here. So let's grab some copper spools. Okay. So copper spools, iron rods, capacitors, redstone torches. We will quickly teach our system how to make redstone torches, because that's not a problem. And capacitors. 16 of those guys. And then we also need andesite alloy. We got plenty of that in here. Plenty of that. So now we are just waiting on getting the crafter set up, right? I think that's everything. So I'm going to pull this machine down. And I'm just going to throw it in there. Perfect. And then I am going to take away the gearboxes here. I'm going to attempt... Oop, I didn't... Where did that come from? Oh well, we're just going to run this over this direction. And... a few more cogs. And I want to put this here in a vertical gearbox. No. I probably want to do something like this. I know this is sloppy, by the way. I totally could have just put this guy closer. This is the one issue that I have with this gearbox, is it's very difficult to use. Like, it seems like it doesn't have, like, any predictability besides, like, maybe occasionally. There we go. Okay. And then we just need to make sure that we configure this to go out a specific direction. Grab a barrel. As long as everything is connected, we should be golden. So capacitor, copper spool. Oh, and I need sheets, don't I? Yes, brass sheets. That's the one I forgot. Brass sheets. Is it on the bottom here? Gotta remember the recipe a little bit. I'm failing at doing that. And that should be everything to get us the electric motor. And so with one of these, we're just going to go downstairs here. And we're going to grab a flux point. So with this, we've got these little crafters set up down here. And we are going to grab a cog. I guess let me actually just go around this way here. So cog wheel. I guess half shaft actually will work perfectly here, right? There we go. And then electric motor. I am not having luck placing this stuff right now. And then we just attach a flux point. You'll see that this is actually starting to work. Very, very slowly because we haven't turned it up. But that will then push the arch meat down there. And so if we do... just right-click on this? Or do we need to remove this piece? Okay, we just need to get closer. So we could do like 128. And this just will speed this up. So basically the entire point is to now just get more and more EMC, right? We could have done this sooner, by the way. I just did not really think about doing this. In all honesty, we could just speed this up to 256. You'll see that this is even quicker. And it's now even out of sync, which is kind of funny to me. And then, of course, we'll get one more electric motor for this side. The other question I had was, can I put, like, glass in front of this? And this still function? Okay. And I will mute this, by the way. This is not going to be a continuous sound. Since we have the space, I thought this would just be a good idea to put down here. And we can, of course, get rid of the windmill upstairs, get rid of that whole unit, and we can probably place more of these if we wanted to. But yeah, that actually completes that portion. And I will get the other side done, and everything... I think this looks great, though. We just now need to go to create, and we can turn that down, turn that down, turn this down, turn this down. Ah, peaceful. Okay. Maybe some more sounds here. Okay. But that'll work, and I will get the other side done, and I'll be back. Alright. So I did complete the other set. That was really quick, really simple. I also wanted to mention, I have moved over the jumbo tank that we had here, so similar to this one. And I've placed this to be a fluid cell from Thermal. This is actually enchanted with the highest tier of holding. I think it was like... I don't even know what the whole... Let's see. This should cycle through all of them. It does not. Okay. We go to holding. I guess it wasn't the max tier. It was... Oh, this doesn't even show all of them, does it? It just jumps. But it was like tier 9, I think. You can see that it is enchanted if we look up here. But yeah, it's up there in the holding capacity. So we have 3.8 million millibuckets being able to be stored in here, which is fantastic. Of course, we also have got the abyssal expanded tank construction in here, and that is also beautiful. So I'm going to increase this just by, you know, a significant margin. We won't have that much input, but we'll have some output here and there. But we want this, and I've already done a storage bus down here, hence why I actually increased the storage so we could have more. And this should allow for us to get the whole fluid mixer portion going, which I think I made the fluid mixer. I did. Perfect. And I have not put down any cables because we're actually almost out of channels. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels. Oh, nope, just 7. So we're at the very, very end of this line. So if we do a pattern provider here for the blast chiller, which actually we're going to skip the blast chiller because the actually no, we want to keep the blast chiller, but we don't need the extended then. We just need 2 of these guys. And I'll show you how we're going to go about doing this here with the max amount of channels reached per line. We'll just do that here in a second though. So we're going to run a cable, and we're actually going to grab an anchor for this here. And we're going to anchor off, and we are going to run this down underground. And I'm going to actually go down 2 blocks instead of just 1. Yes, I could anchor everything, but since we have the ability to just kind of run underground here, we're going to do it this way. Make it nice and simple, so we don't have to worry about anything else. And that will allow for us to have another 8 channels on this line. So we've got our first one here, and then whatever else machines we put down, we'll be able to run off of that as well. With the fluid mixer on a separate channel, we should be good to go ahead and get this recipe. We, of course, do have latex in here. I'll just show you that it's in here, because, of course, we have that storage bus over on the fluid cell. One thing I did forget to mention, the fluid cell, I have set the bottom to input-output since there is a storage bus there, so it can input and output latex if need be. Mostly it should be extracting it, never trying to push it back in, but we will let that be. Let's see, we want to look for... Where is it at? I hope this is the right one. It's not showing up. It is. Okay, it's just not showing up properly. It's kind of weird. But let's go ahead and get the poly sheets. The fin sheets. That's what I'm going to start calling it. We're going to get rid of the plate cast. We're just going to keep the plate cast in the blast chiller. And toss that in here. And we should now be able to get these plates. And I did forget about augments for these guys, didn't I? Alright, all of these have augments applied. And the actual polyfin plates did craft, by the way. They went through properly, it looks like. So let's just actually craft up like 8 of these guys. Just to see how fast this goes. And it's done. Perfect. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is probably get the multi-servo press with the rod die. I think that's probably just a good option just to have for overall cost. So let's go ahead and go about getting that. And another multi-servo press. And I was kind of wondering, because I don't remember, can I name these machines? I kind of forget if I can do this or not. If I can name this rod maker, we'll just call it that. And if I put this down, I don't think it's going to keep. But we will try. Pattern provider. Let's just do normal. Convert it to a flat. And then Fluix. And then go in here. Oop, not here. There. No, it still picks up as a multi-servo press. Okay. That sucks. I wish I could change that, but that's okay. Alright, so the Twinite rod, which is what we're looking at here, and that shouldn't be too bad. We want to get rid of the rod die. Okay. And we'll want to grab the integrated component stellar, and also the flux linkage amplifier and flux efficiencies. We'll just fully kit this one out. And we also need to make sure that we are providing power to this guy. Just like so. And the stellar integral component is there. And let's just quickly try and make up a rod. So it's probably making twinite right now. And then also we need to make sure input output on the back. I did forget. Okay. And of course that is a 1 to 2 conversion, which is fantastic. And I will fix the backside of this here in a little bit. Don't worry. I'll probably do it off camera. But the other thing is with this rod die is we actually can go ahead and we could teach iron rods to this as well, which will jump past the electric motor needing the rolling machine. We will just completely just do it this way, which is also fantastic. And we scroll down. There we go. And then, of course, any other rods that we could need, which I don't really see why we would need half of these guys. Not gonna lie. Most of them look like they are kind of useless. We don't really need tools or anything, so it's kind of, what would we need this for? Yeah. Yeah. If we ever do need the rods, though, we do have access to them. So, that is fantastic. Okay. So, now we should be able to go and autocraft these nitratic igniter pieces. And of course, this is not the only piece of this whole automation that we're going to do, right? This is part of it, but we want to make up one of these guys anyway. Because this guy should kick off quite a few crafting pieces. It's already done. Fantastic. Okay. So it goes from chunks into the magma crucible. And from there, it then goes into the blast chiller with an ingot cast to then make the proper thing. I quickly want to look at the igniter catalyst here because we want more primary. I couldn't really care about auxiliary. So far, we've seen that slime seems to be the best overall for kind of both. The nuclear explosive does give us 5 times, but it's not EMCable. And it doesn't look like it's actually craftable. The Archerion, this would be fantastic, but of course we do not have access to that yet. We do have the fulminating, but that is Blitz powder, and Blitz is not EMCable. So that wouldn't be that sustainable. We do have, yeah, the fulminating would actually give us like the highest primary. Everything else is kind of underneath the slime. Okay. So that works. That will do for now. We just need to craft up one of these guys, which is not hard. We'll get this EMC'd, and that will allow for us to do an EMC link for the nitratic igniter. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of fantastic. So the next portion is probably to just kind of start getting those pieces automated. Yeah, I mean, making sure we're able to autocraft all these machines, I think is probably a good start. Okay, blast chiller, nature packed ice, and that should all be everything we need. Okay. And then we just go and figure out how many raw ores we have, which, of course, I know we've got 10. We've got nickel. We've got osmium, iron, zinc, gold, copper. Look up raw. Yeah, gold. I don't really know if we need uranite. I don't even know if that'd be possible to process. Raw bismuth. I don't think we need that. Raw uranium. I think we'll take that. I think that's kind of it. Silver. I'm thinking that's kind of it. Can we look up ingot? There's a whole bunch of ingots in here, but we're kind of looking for the primaries. Can we do anything with draconic dust? Is that anything? No, we would just have to go and smelt it. I don't think there's a way to increase the production rate of it. Okay. So yeah, that looks like it's everything that we could possibly do this for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rest of the machines we need, and then we'll do one process, and then I'm just going to do the rest off camera. So I'll be right back. Okay, quickly. I was messing around with this, and I just came across... There's another method. Endothermic dehydrator, which actually turns 90 into 2 more. Looks like maybe there is... Yeah, there's a boostable... That is interesting. So there's a whole other method, but does this tell me anything? You can make salmon jerky? That's interesting. It says it's boostable, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I guess that's through the augments, right, at this point. Okay. So this adds another complex component, I would assume, that there's probably something here. Not really. So we're going to add this into the rotation. Well, it's a good thing I didn't miss this, I guess. I mean, I kind of did at the end of the day, but... So this goes after the magma crucible, and then that becomes osmium dust. So it goes from liquid form into, instead of the blast chiller, it goes into the endothermic dehydrator, and then into most likely an iron furnace. So iron furnace. We would just say like the nether furnace, the netherite furnace here. And that should be basically everything. Okay, so I just need to grab the magma crucible and the endo, and then the iron furnace. And then we also probably could grab the blasting and the factory augment. And that should be everything we need to kind of get this started. So I would want to then grab an EMC link. What kind of EMC link would we want? EMC link. I'm kind of thinking pink, tier 5, because that gives us quite a few items at once. So I kind of want to do this from top to bottom. So like the result would be here, and the endothermic, the magma crucible, and then the igniter. And then do we want to do, thinking like a higher tier, probably violet level 7 for the TNT, right? The slime explosive. Okay, so slime explosive goes there, and then we'll just say gold for the first one. Okay. And we'll grab pipes. Actually, yeah, pipes. Pipes will work. Do. This piece. I gotta take the pants back off because I cannot shift while in the air. So we'd want to make sure that input is enabled. And auto input, auto output. Actually, we don't need auto input. And then this would go to the bottom. And then this would have auto input at the bottom. And then auto input on the top, auto output on the bottom. And then here, this would be factory, blasting, input on top, and then output front. And we'll just have like the ender chest or whatever we're going to push this into. Or like the wireless connector, we could just set this down and actually just push into our system. We will see. Maybe we do that. Hold on. Maybe we go upstairs and we move this all up one. And since this is gold, we would take this and just kind of have it next to it. Why not? Like, why not do that? Doesn't that make sense? So we would just move all of this up one. So there, endo, magma crucible, nitratic, and then the EMC link. And I'm actually going to put the EMC link... because I'm afraid that doing it on the corner like that's going to cause a problem. So let's just do that. Let's do that. Do raw gold. Do slime explosive. And then at pipes. And do I have item pipes on me? I do. Right? That makes sense? And then we would just get this powered, which actually, sneakily, I have put power down here. I've got some thermo generators down here. Not really like super high tier or anything. They're just blazing. But they do have the superheating element for mechanism, which is a little bit below the... which one is it? It's below... Yeah, the 1x total 9 blocks of blazing crystals. It's a little bit below that, so it should be pretty decent. I don't know if it's going to be enough. The only reason I was doing that way is because I think this would be a pretty decent method of just making sure we don't tank our entire power system. But in the future, we may change it around. And the power is actually running through a laser node. So I'm going to connect that. Ooh, I cannot connect that. Let's do at laser. So let's grab the laser connector. Connect to here. And then from here to here. And then I'm just going to run the cables behind this machine. Which I've got Mechanism Elite Universal cables, which just do a little bit better than pipes usually. And we should just be able to do something like this. And that should be good. I also got the configurator for Mechanism. Nothing too terrible. But when we do stuff... Oop, I've got this on wrench still, don't I? When we do stuff like this, where we do actually specify pull, this actually pulls out more, which is fantastic. And then we just need to make sure that we are putting this back on. And... So I think the other thing that I want to do is get rid of secondary. So thermal, destroy, auxiliary. Does that make sense? So that way we're not having like complicated packs and having different ores in single. We're just having a single line. Which, you know, may be overall not as effective, but I think that should be okay. So destroy. And of course that makes gold. And this is cruising. So I want to grab the integrated 3 of those guys to speed this up. And I may actually grab, instead of doing like a whole bunch of power and everything, like the flux ones, what are they called? The linkage amplifiers? Yeah, that thing right there. I'm going to actually do 3 of these guys. So 1, 2, 3, so 6, 9. Okay. And I think that will make this much better, because you can see how slow this guy is. We're going to need something to speed this up, so maybe we'll switch to flux linkage amplifiers for like specifically the endothermic dehydrator. And this guy should be good. We also forgot we have to reset this guy. I forget these guys maintain their inventory. This guy does not. So that should work. And we'll do auto split on. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This guy's like broken. Got like an auto sort thing right in the middle of it. Interesting. And that... I guess it's working. Is this thing full or something? It's actually full. Hold on. I did not even realize that. Grab like... Oh. Might need the gold. 6 of these guys. Then 6 of these guys. Okay. And that should make it, yeah, like 7.1 million blocks. 63 point something. I can't even read that. Probably 63 point something million. But that should get us cruising. This thing, yes, definitely is still slow. Not primary inputs. It's still depositing cactus, though, which is kind of baffling. So is the auxiliary actually, in this case, the... Where is this thing at? The very end here? Is the auxiliary this? I don't know how to tell. So we can just get rid of that. So we'll have to figure out how to deal with that, though. That is a strange one. And like with this one, if this outputs secondary 2, which I would assume this will, right? This has probably got copper. I don't know how to deal with that. We may have to do like a rotation of the machine. So like rotate it the side here. And then just have it to where we output to maybe like a trash can or to like an rectangle block that has the actual machine's variant. But of course, this is already backing up, right? Like this machine is significantly quicker than this machine. So I'm thinking we may need to change the plan and grab some flux linkage amplifiers specifically for like this one. Oh, now we got raw copper in there. Okay, let me go to the drawing board here real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I've went to the drawing board enough. I think we're ready to kind of figure this out here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to move the power. And this is definitely going to make things a little bit more complicated, but that should be okay. So, what we're going to do is we are going to do the nitratic piece. Let's see, because I need to do... I think right here should work. I think. Because that's barrel, magma crucible. Yes. Okay, so we do need to put one more power cable right here. Okay. And we can rotate this guy back. We shouldn't have an issue. Because we're just going to push it down to below. And we now have the spruce barrel. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a void upgrade on chunks. So we're going to do the copper chunk. We're just going to avoid it. Straight up, just get rid of it. Okay? And yes, this adds more complication because you do have to add barrels with void upgrades and all of that stuff, but that should be fine. So then the next thing is, of course, making sure auto input, auto output, and that should work. Okay? And the other thing is now is we've got a buffer. So theoretically, if I wanted to, I could upgrade this to an iron or gold and put stack upgrades in here, and we could carry more chunks in here, which is also a very, very good thing. And the next portion is to do this guy, the endothermic dehydrator. And we're going to rotate this guy back as well. We can take that away, and we can also do the advanced void upgrade. And this is for the copper dust. Straight up void it. Okay. Works in the GUI. So we're going to make the gauge dropper from mechanism to solve the issue of having fluid in here. Ooh, is it not going to let me? Oh, there we go. We just right-click. And we're going to shift right-click to void that. It's a very fantastic tool. Basically like a little bucket, and you can actually void stuff quick and all of that jazz. So I'm going to take out the flux linkage amplifier. I am going to then also set back up this stuff, because we did not set that back up yet. Okay. So gold, and then explosives. And that gets us the gold completed. Oop. I don't want this. I was actually just trying to toss it in there to see if I could just like EMC it down. And then of course, let's make sure that we do this and this. And we also need to provide power to these guys, which I'm just going to actually do at the bottom here. Quickly reconnect the laser node. There we go. And then configurator, do pull, and we've got everything else to be push. Fantastic. Okay. So, I think that is the first successful attempt at this. You know, trials and tribulations sometimes, guys. That's not too terrible. And we'll get rid of that, because yes, that should not happen again, where we have copper clogging the pipes. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So I kind of want to put... Is that a bad idea? I don't know. I see how fast the magma crucible's working with nothing. This one's just inherently slow. And so I think we should be good. I may add some more upgrades to these. Of course, I think we're still waiting on the abyssal flux efficiency, which I'm just going to toss one in here for now. And then... like, this one I don't think needs... Well, it might need an upgrade, because how fast this is cruising. So I will mess with this, right? This is going to be like a... kind of figure out how much, where we need it, all of that jazz. And I think, between this episode and next, we are going to work on just kind of getting all of these resources, right? That's kind of what we're going to be doing. There's not going to be a whole lot of just changing things up. I think everything is kind of smooth sailing from here. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.